I had taken John's call so late and exhausted, it wasn't until halfway through the following day's shift I remembered the job offer. In the basement laundry dump, while I pulled sheet after sheet from the laundry chute, it came upon me like recalling a dream, or more like recalling the taste of a meal on your tongue, the one that made you ill. I had my jacket off and hung outside the dump room because this was physical and disgusting work. Sometime during the midday rush, when housemen run through the checkouts to strip the sheets and drop them down the laundry chute, everything had gotten jammed up. The floor of the dump room was half a foot thick with dirty bed linens, robes, and towels, which I scrambled over to get to the mouth of the chute. The chute resembled a frozen white waterfall, a cone of linens rising up to the metal tube. When I tugged at a robe hanging halfway out, another spray of linens came down to jam the hole and freeze the fall again. My hands were uncomfortably hot because I was wearing latex gloves. Why gloves? Because this was a never-ending pile of nastiness. The laundry department has a runner responsible for keeping up with this chute and separating the items into large blue bins for washing. One for robes, one for sheets, one for towels, and so on. Apparently, according to the laundry manager, the runner had been fired that morning. The manager had been inspecting the linen closets, trying to get an idea of what linens the day would call for most, when he saw a pair of black Nikes sticking out from the side of a metal shelving unit. A sheet had been draped over the entire front of the unit, and when he detached it, he found the runner asleep on a roll of freshly stacked king sheets, even a pillow under his head. The runner awoke to an execution-style firing. A gentle shake of his shoulder, and just as he came to, just as his pupils dilated, "You're fired, Jamal. Get out. Now." 2 deadly sins of the hotel business: stealing and sleeping on the job. You can't fight those sins. You will be fired. As exciting as finding that pair of floating Nikes was to the laundry manager, he failed to communicate to my department that his department was currently without a runner. How were we finally alerted to this problem? A houseman, stripping rooms on 10, had opened the chute and found it packed and rising above his 10th floor drop slot. 10 minutes later, the whole beast was jammed up all the way to 15, just packed full of dirty linen. And housemen on 16 and above were still making it rain sheets. So now here I was, at the very bottom of it all, yanking at soiled linen. I focused on not touching my face, trying not to instinctively wipe the dripping sweat from my forehead. As I grunted and pulled hard at a sheet, the flow opened, and I hopped back to let the mouth expunge another floor or so of linens, backing up to let the pile spread. Taking a moment to rest, I scanned the billowy off-white pile I stood on, now almost 2 feet thick. In the mix, I saw spots of red, blood, and slimy latex condoms hiding among the folds like greasy snakes. Yep. This wasn't the first time I'd found myself in the shit pit. Items lost in the rooms were also under my jurisdiction. A guest's first instinct, since the beginning of hoteldom, all the way back to the 19th century, is to immediately assume the housekeeper is a thief. I cannot stand that. These ladies need their jobs, and never once have I witnessed a situation where a housekeeper put her job at stake for one earring. Usually, the guest lost it, or maybe left it buried in the bed linens, and once the sheets got dumped, I would be sent down here to sort through the pile until I found it. Or didn't. Mostly didn't. I wish I could offer advice on locating lost items, but it's a big world. It's a big hotel. Earrings are grains of sand, and white pajama pants are water in the ocean. Utilizing the drawers in the room instead of flinging off your clothes like an excited 5-year-old might help. Using the in-room safe for sentimental items instead of tossing valuables over your shoulder like lucky grains of salt, also a good idea. Messiness looks like trash to housekeepers, so keep papers in a folder or tucked in a briefcase. A hotel room seems to feel like home, that's the plan, but you are not at home. You are in flux. You are in a private/public space. Act accordingly and keep organized. Catching my breath, I leaned against the far wall from the mouth of the chute, trying to balance on the pile, my dress shoes sinking in, and that's when I remembered John's phone call. Again, an unexplainable nausea overtook me. What was this feeling? Why was my stomach churning and my heart shuddering? Was it the disgusting scent of soiled linens? No. I was terrified. Of work. Of more uninterrupted, thankless work. Hour after hour on my feet and talking. Scheduling, purchasing, cleaning, hiring, firing, and constant door knocking. Good morning, this is housekeeping. Good morning, this is housekeeping. Good afternoon, housekeeping. Good afternoon, housekeeping. Good evening, housekeeping. Good evening, housekeeping.